Hello and welcome to next video in the series. This time we're going to do PHD drift alignment. Okay, I'm going to apologize ahead of time for a couple of things here. First of all, let me just get my equipment going here. Second of all, the audio actually did not connect to all of this. So if the volume changes or the background noise or whatever, I apologize in advance. I'm recording some of this at the computer at home, and some of this I actually recorded out in the field. So you'll just have to bear with me. Okay, so getting stuff connected. All right, got EQ mod up, unpark, and I'm going to open this up. If you have EQ mod, it's great. One of the best things, get your location right. I love this polar star line. Click this button here, and it shows me where Polaris should be. And I just eyeball it. I put it on the line through my polar scope. So I go, about 9 o'clock, a little bit less, 8:30. Anyway, and so I just put it on the line through my polar scope, and I find that it's actually, as long as your polar scope is collimated, it's very accurate. So give me a minute, I'm going to go do that, and I'll try to edit this out so that you don't have to wait for several minutes while I adjust that. Okay, I cut it out, but I went over to my mount and I adjusted that as close as I could to get the polar alignment, just the rough polar alignment. I didn't rotate my scope or anything, just eyeballed it through the eyepiece as close as I could get to there, and that's more than good enough for using the PHD drift tool. Okay, so on to the next step.
Okay, also I want to come down here. I'm using Carts to CL. So this is my equator here. I'm facing south, 180 degrees. I'm just going to slew over to Altair to get my focus. Nice bright star, easy to find. So I need to connect my scope. Control panel. Connect. Hide. Altair and slew. Okay, actually, that looks like Altair right there. So we're actually already pretty close to being centered. Take my view, put on a bullseye. You don't have to do that. I just like it for helping me center things. Sorry for the noise. I'm just going to focus my guide scope a little bit. That looks pretty good right there. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get this centered just to make it a little easier on me. Open up EQ mod, move this over so you can see. I'll put this on a speed of 2, and then I'm just guessing here. So let's try north. Nope, wrong way. So let's try south. And you'll notice I'm updating every, 0.1 second, so it's pretty quick updates. Actually seems a little more like half a second, but whatever. Alright, and then let's guess west. Nope, wrong way. Okay, that's more or less centered. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just trying to get a guesstimate so that when I come over here to my program, alright, I'm going to tell it sync on Altair. Yes, it's pointed at Altair. Okay, now that I'm synced on Altair, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm just going to focus my main scope real quick. So I'm going to use my mask, put that on. I'm also going to lock the focus on my guide scope and my main scope. I'll adjust it later throughout the night as temperatures cool off, but for now that should be pretty good for a little while. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is, alright, give me a second. Okay, now I'm focused, and now I'm going to go ahead and go over here, and now consistency is the important thing here. So here we have the meridian, here's the celestial equator, and what I do is I always look for my first guide star, my drift star, somewhere in this quadrant. It doesn't really matter which one you pick, but just always be consistent. So I've just found that this is really easy for me to do. It's just right around in here. So north of the equator and west of the meridian. So, hey, this star looks pretty good. Let's do that one. Catalpha. Okay, so slew over there. Open up PHD, and hopefully I should pop onto it. The reason why I do it on that side of the meridian is so that while I'm doing this drift alignment, I don't have any issues with it, drifting off. Yeah, it's there. You can't really see it. Let me take the bullseye off of there. Okay, there you go. So there's my drift star. All right, so what I like to do is first you're going to want to take a manual guide and move all of the backlash out of there. And for that, it helps if you put up on your view your fine grid, at least for the video, give you an idea where that star is there. Okay, so what I want to do is PHD, when it calibrates, is going to go west and north first. So I'm just going to click west until the star moves. It looks like it moved. Yep, it moved there. Okay, that's good. Now I'm just going to click north until the star moves. It's a good idea to do this before you calibrate each time, just to clear out any backlash, make sure the gears are tight. You'll get a lot more accurate calibration this way. Okay, looks like I've got some movement now. I'll click one more time. Yeah, okay, we definitely have movement. Alright, so close your manual guide. Alright, so I've got the star there clicked. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here to the calibrate button. And I'm going to hold down the shift key. I do that every time that I want to start a new calibration, just so it doesn't automatically grab the old settings. So hold down shift and click. And let me get rid of the overlay. Okay, there we go. Now let's try that again. Hold down shift and click. Okay, so now it's going to go through its calibration. West step, 2.4, 4.8. Remember, this is looking for a total of 25. And it'll go up to 60 steps. I covered that in video 2. So if you want to review calibration and what you're looking for there, if you're having problems with it, just go ahead and look at video 2 to review that information. Okay, so it's clearing the backlash now. What that's doing is it's trying to slew north and wait and see if it moves. And okay, it saw movement, so now that's where it's done. You see it doing that a long time, clearing backlash. That's doing your deck. It's trying to move it north, and it's not seeing the star move. If you do that manual guide beforehand, then you won't have that problem. So we're on 8 steps, up to 9 steps, 19.4 pixels. So probably do this in about 14 steps or so. Okay, and then it's going to do south step, and I have a ton of backlash, so it's probably going to try a couple and then just give up. And it'll start guiding wherever it's left it at. And remember, this is our drift star because it's right in that quadrant that I like. So we can go straight on in from, slowing to our first star, doing our calibration, and then we can just go ahead and start right with our drift tool. So go up to your tools. And it is guiding right now, but as soon as you start your drift tool, it's going to turn off the declination guiding. And then what we're going to do is you don't have to worry about any of this slew stuff. I'm using ASCOM EQ mod, so it automatically figures out the declination and whatnot, so I don't have to mess with that. But all I'm doing now, it's interesting, it doesn't do, I have to click drift. So all I do is just click drift. And what you're going to see is it's going to reset the graph, and it's going to start the trend. And you see your blue line is going to be your RA, and it's going to be making corrections. Those are these spikes. Is it making corrections on the RA? And so you can completely ignore the blue line throughout all of this drift alignment. Pay no attention to it whatsoever. So what you want to look at is the angle of this red dotted line. Okay, that's your drift error. All right, so what's important is how far off is it and which direction above the center line here is it. So right now it's above the center line and it's actually pretty close. You'll notice as this gets closer to center, this little purple circle, I think it's purple, I've got a red screen over my laptop, this little circle will get smaller or larger depending on how close this dotted line is to center. So this is actually really close polar alignment already. You can see my error is actually displayed here, and it's saying I'm about -3 minutes off, 26 pixels, 28 pixels. So we'll do a small adjustment. It's actually a little bit challenging when you get down to these smaller areas, because you see this circle. What you want to do is you want to split the difference between your star, halfway between your star where it is and where the circle is. Now for this first one, you can probably go ahead and do it. You really just want to wait about a minute or so, but when you get to fine tuning, that's where you'll want to wait maybe up to like 2 minutes long. But I can already see that, okay, I'm off by 32 pixels, whatever, 3.98. Anyway, I'd like to get this down below 1 minute. So when I want to adjust it, okay, here it is going up. I've got my little cheat notes here, which I think are accurate. I may have messed with them. Anyway, like I said, new PhD. So what I want to do is I want to move that line down. So what I have here is west pointing east, star north of celestial equator, east of meridian. Okay, so I have that right now. And west knob in equals the red line goes down. So I should be able to hit adjust and then move my west knob in a little bit. And since it's so close, it's just going to be a tiny, tiny bit. So let me do that. Click adjust. Okay, now you'll see that it moved off those crosshairs so you can actually see my star. So I want to get it halfway between where it is and the circle. So let me rotate my laptop around so I can see it from the scope. Okay, and then I'm going to go to my west knob and back off my east a hair. And the first time you do this, it's really just a guess and check. And then you make the notes to figure out where it goes, so you don't have to guess the next time. Alright, so that looks pretty darn close to halfway. Okay, rotate my laptop back around. Okay, rotating my laptop back around, sorry for the noise. Yeah, it's pretty close to halfway. I think I went a little too far. So now I click drift. And if we did that right, that circle should be smaller. Our trend line should be closer to center. It should have moved in the downward direction. If it moved in the upward direction, then my notes are wrong and I need to correct that. I downloaded a new thing, a PhD, and I was going through screenshots in order to rewrite my notes. So I'm not sure how old they were. Yeah, it looks like that was wrong. Okay, so this is good actually. You can see if you went the wrong way. Alright, so what we have going on here now is you'll see that my line is even steeper. Now I don't even need to wait a minute. I don't need to wait 2 minutes. I can see that this is pretty far off. That's not seen. That's actually, pretty far off, and it's not good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click adjust, and I'm going to move my star, move my mount. And this time, let's do east knob in. Same deal. I'm going to try to split the difference between where the star is and that circle, and you should see it move in the opposite direction. Okay, that's probably pretty close to split right there. Alright, I'm going to change my notes up and click drift. Now's a good time to point out the importance of having a level mount. If your mount isn't level, every time you get a bunch of RA corrections here, it's going to throw off your deck. So if your mount is level, your RA affects your RA only, and your deck affects your deck only. So make sure you take the time to level your mount before you set up.
Okay, I actually just skipped ahead there, as you probably can tell from the graph suddenly jumping. I found a little bug in this PhD version I'm using. It was actually the pixel size kept resetting, so it wasn't giving me an accurate read. Okay, so I changed that, and I think I bumped it a little bit there, and okay, so I've got a good read here now. All right, so at this point, our deck is, you can see the air is down there, 9 pixels, 10 pixels, right around there. So we can go ahead and I'll update my notes, and then we can go ahead and click altitude, and now we have slew information, which you can use to slew to that area. But what I actually prefer to do is I'll go to my Stellarium program, CarCCL, sorry, and I'm just going to slew down. There's the star I'm on. I'll go ahead and sync real quick, just because hopefully it'll get me to the next star. If it knows where it's at now, it'll get me to the next star a little more accurately. So I'm just going to slew down here to the western horizon, and just like before, it's all about consistency. So if you don't have a western horizon to your east, but always try to do the same one if you can. Anyway, so yeah, okay, here we are, western horizon. There's our celestial equator. And same deal, I'm going to try to go a little bit up, about 20 degrees off the horizon at least, so that the scene's not too bad. And I'm just going to stay north of the equator, and I'm going to be on the western horizon. I'm going to pick a star, so why not? Let's do this one right here. Anyway, again, just consistency, so let me slew to that. And I always do it, western horizon, north of the equator. And you can see my notes there, west pointing east, north of celestial equator, north nub n equals red line moves up. And hopefully these ones are more right than my last ones. Okay, so here's our star coming into view. Hey, spot on. Okay, and then we're just going to click, let's see, we're on altitude. Yeah, okay, there, you can go back to azimuth if you want to, but okay, so I'm just going to click drift. And now, same deal, we're watching the red line. We don't care what the blue line's doing. It's always the red line for doing your polar alignment. Now, let's say that you've gone to a new location, and for whatever reason, normally you do it to the west, but this time you had to go east because there's a tree in your way or something or other. All you have to do is reverse these instructions. So if, this is saying west pointing east, oh, there you go. So west pointing east, we're actually pointing west. So north knob in, red line moves up. What we're going to do is we're just going to say, okay, north knob in, actually red line moves down because we're on the west instead of the east, like the notes say here. Okay, it looks like so far we're about a minute in. You'll see sometimes every now and then, it looks like I'm pretty close to the center line, but it started off and it was down below that center line. Every now and then you'll just get it where as soon as you start your drift alignment, you just had a particularly bad moment of seeing, and then you'll get the, but you look at the spikes here going on either side of the center line, and I can see that it's actually pretty accurate there, despite saying that I've actually got quite a bit of error. So let's just let this run for a bit, and we'll see what it evens out at. Okay, so let's go ahead and adjust. We still got a trend up. All right, so like I said, you've got the note saying west pointing east, and that's for your directions, but we're actually pointing to the west, so we're going to reverse the directions. So where it says here west pointing east, north of CE, north knob in equals red line moves up, well, we're going to change that the red line moves down. Well, looky there, we need to move the red line down. So let me go ahead and adjust my north knob in, and it's not very far, it's pretty close. So I'm just going to move it in a hair and try to split the difference here between where the start was and the circle. Okay, and then click drift again, and let's see what happens. And I'm thinking that felt pretty good. I think that's going to be it right here.
Okay, so sorry about that wind. See that spike right there? That would be the wind that just hit me. You probably heard it. Okay, well, prior to that wind hitting, if you'd caught it quickly enough, you would have seen that my air was actually very, very good. I'm almost spot on. I've only been running for about maybe a minute and a half. I'm probably getting close to 2 minutes now. But I was spot on right here, and then I had that spike from the wind, and you can see I've got a couple more spikes from the wind. So I actually can say with a fair degree of certainty that even though it doesn't look terribly good, my polar alignment is pretty darn nice, probably as good as I'm going to get tonight. With the wind, it really makes things challenging. So I'm going to call that good enough. And then all we have to do is close this guy out, and it should start guiding now. And then what I want to do is I'm going to open up my planetarium program, and I can go ahead and, okay, so I'm pointing at Cerbuli. That's my last one, right? So I'm going to go to EQ mod real quick. And now that I've been moving the mount around and I had those sinks in, I need to clear them out. So I'm going to clear the sink. I'm going to come over here to PHD real quick. View, put up my bullseye. And then I'm going to slew the scope a little bit to get it centered. And I'm just guessing on direction here. Okay, so of course it's going to be east. And I'm just going to get it centered, and then I'm going to sync so that I've got my first sync star. I didn't run any sort of ASPA. I didn't use any software. I don't even have the... Whoa. Did I lose a star? Okay, that was weird. Oh, I know what happened. It was still trying to, even though I was slowing, it was still trying to guide on it. So, whoops, east. Okay, so I stopped the guiding. Now I'm just looking at the star. It's always fun when you're slowing and PHD is trying to guide you back on. Okay, so that's going to probably put me close enough. Do a brief little pop there. Okay. This ain't the space shuttle. That's close enough to centered. So, oops, pop open EQ. No, not EQ mod, sorry. Pop open my planetarium. Make sure I'm highlighted on Cerbuli. I'm pointed at it. Going to sync. I cleared out all those sinks, right? Alright, well, just in case I didn't, let me just do it real quick. Okay, so I cleared the sinks. Go back to this. Sync. Yes, I'm pointing at Cerbuli. Sebalri. Okay. So now let's see how bad or good our drift alignment is after that. So I want to pick something up near the zenith, just for clean air. And get something with a nice, this one ought to give us a nice clean signal. Okay, we'll slew to that. And with any luck, it should be centered when this pops on there.
Okay, come up here to Tools, go to your Guiding Assistant, and we're just going to do a quick Guiding Assistant just to double check our polar alignment, make sure that it's as good as I think it is. So as soon as you open it up, it's going to start, and I'm going to let this run for at least a couple of minutes. So let me cut that part out. I'll come back in just a second. Okay, it's all done. Looks like we got a polar alignment error in the center there of 0.8. So yeah, it didn't like my declination backlash. It says 22.2. I'm going to have to do it all in one direction. And you'll see it also suggests your minimum movement. You can go with those for now. So just apply on both of those. And there you go. Okay, so that's about it. That wraps it up. And now that this is stopped, it's actually guiding. I'm going to get on a target for the night and do my imaging. Have a good one. Okay, and just to show you my graph, this is much later in the evening. I've been collecting subs for a while. I changed the colors because of my red screen. I couldn't see the darn colors that I had on there. So anyway, I'm not sure what color they actually are right now. But you can see that's my polar alignment is adequate for the evening, and definitely for the focal length I'm doing. So anyway, this is what it looked like, just to give you the whole package. Anyway, that'll be it.